At the minute, we're absolutely a fan base divided. Some people are pinning all the problems on Ten Hag himself, and then others then are blaming once again these players and the overall structure of this club. And yes, I can understand both points. Like, yes, these players are underperforming. The structure of this club is still baffling sometimes. Even though now, obviously, we've got Sir Jim and we're seemingly headed on the right path, they've got a hell of a long way to go to fixing all of United's problems left over by the Glazers.
And to be fair, I mean, we need Daniel Radcliffe, not Jim Radcliffe.
But for me, it's still baffling why Ten Hag is absolutely immune to criticism.
I don't understand. I don't understand, bitch.
We played against Fulham exactly the same way that we've played against all these other teams in that unbeaten run to start 2024. I've done so many videos on this channel, even after the wins, and it's easier to point out the flaws in Ten Hag's system than it is the positives, even after the wins. Last season was win at all costs, and you can defend that. Last season, we needed to get our Champions League football. It was Ten Hag's first season in charge, and you give him some slack. This season, though, for me, things had to get better. But even after the summer, where he was heavily backed in the transfer market, yet again, United have gone backwards. And a lot of it, I think, is down to the tactics used by Ten Hag. In the wins up against Villa and Luton, we went to those stadiums and we played with an absolute wide open midfield. In that video up after the Villa game, I stated how frustrated I was, even though the United got the win. Because the way we played was shambolic. Up against Luton, the way we played up against them, it was just embarrassing. And we can blame injuries, and Ten Hag regularly does in the media, but for me, you really have a fully fit squad in the Premier League, and if injuries to Martinez and Shaw are going to cripple your system this much, then I really do think you need to start questioning the system you're using. That we said, obviously, about having training time on the pitch, like affecting things on the pitch as well. But now United are only playing one game a week because we've been knocked out of so many cup competitions. Yet we're still not seeing any improvement on the pitch. And then Fulham come to Old Trafford missing some of their best players. Yet they can still play us off the park. I mean, do we genuinely think that Tottenham, Villa have got much better squads than United? Do we think that they are also immune to injuries? Yet, obviously, Postecoglou, Emery have got those teams playing with a structure. No matter who's on that pitch, they've got an identity. And what is United's at the minute? United's back line is still far too deep, and then we're asking our forwards to press. So then you can see what happens here. Whenever the opposition goalkeeper gets the ball, our striker this time was Rashford, will go and challenge that goalkeeper. But it's so easy for a midfielder to drop in. You can play that ball into a centre-back who's left free. Or what normally happens, as soon as Rashford goes in there, Forson will press that centre-back and the ball gets dinked over the top. And what do you know then? The opposition has got a free run. You're leaving the likes of Casemiro, Minor out of position. United don't have a CDM. And then you've got that huge chunk of space in there, which teams are just loving to exploit. And we've seen this time and time again. No matter who the personnel are, we see the same issues in this United team. In attack is not much better. We're still playing far too direct. We're still treating the ball like it's a grenade every single time. Yesterday up against Fulham, the only option we really had was to try and dink the ball over Fulham's defence, try and get Rashford to run onto it. We signed Onana just to see him kick the ball long at every opportunity. We might as well have just kept De Gea if we were going to do that. Literally no point in signing Onana when one of his main strengths was to play the ball short. We don't use it. So what is this structure by Ten Hag? What are we trying to do? Using McTominay as a backup sort of Fellaini, essentially. But, I mean, it's worked in a couple of games. But is that the type of football we really expected Ten Hag to bring to United? Are we happy with that? I honestly just don't understand it. And yes, then, obviously, people like to go on about the likes of Rashford and Fernandes. Rashford does annoy me. The application of him isn't good at times. But let's not pretend that he's not United's best forward player. And then with Fernandes then, yes, he can be petulant. That does annoy me. And again, let's not pretend he's up there with Rashford as our best forward player. Fernandes, continually this season, you're seeing him put out on the right wing. You're seeing him used as the deeper midfielder. This get our players in their best positions. Yesterday up against Fulham, Rashford has been doing a lot better on the left wing. I've said it time and time again. You play him on the left wing or don't play him at all. You needed to keep him on the left-hand side and then put Forson in through the middle. Then you're keeping that dynamic where Garnacho and Rashford go in. You're not chopping and changing too many moving parts. But Ten Hag went to Rashford up front yet again. Didn't work. Shock. I mean, you can't keep blaming these stats on the forward players of United either. I mean, Rashford tracking back is not going to stop these shots coming in on your goal. It's not. You can't keep conceding 20 shots a game up against teams like Luton. Even Newport had a lot of joy up against United, and it was shambolic. Yes, United end up winning some games, but it's never going to be sustainable. Ole got hounded out for far less than what Ten Hag has done. This season, we've got knocked out in the group stage of the Champions League, out of the League Cup straight away. Yes, we're still in the FA Cup, but I've got very little confidence in that cup competition if we keep playing the way we are. And then we're languaging down in sort of 6th place in the league. Do we really expect to get top 4? We don't deserve to. When you look at these stats yet again, it just proves, yes, United might win some games, but we've been lucky in the majority of them. It's not sustainable. And so much of it is down to the system that Ten Hag is using. He just looks out of his depth for me. That you can't blame injuries. You can't fully just blame the training time. You can't blame VAR. And you can't blame McFred. When are we going to start saying that Ten Hag has to take account here? He came out after that game yesterday and said the bigger picture's looking bright. I mean, I think the bigger picture's actually looking horrendous right now. I don't think it's looked this bad for quite some time. There's huge faults in this Ten Hag system, and they've been there all season long, no matter who the personnel are on the pitch. Win or lose, United have been painful to watch this season. And yet I'm still seeing people blindly just backing this manager, and I've got no clue why. Ultimately, it's up to Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his group now to make the decision of whether to keep Ten Hag going into next season. But for me, unless Ten Hag shows some drastic changes in his structure of this team, then I'm just not willing to see another season of him in charge. I'm really not. He's leaving him with no choice. I can't see him making those changes because surely he would have made them already by now. It seems as if he's intent on playing this style, playing with that lone pivot in there, the 2 high 8s, you've got your forwards pressing, the defenders dropping back. No other team plays like this in the Premier League. You pick one. What are we doing? I mean, for me, unless those changes are made, drastic changes from now until the end, there's no way I'm going to want Ten Hag still to be in charge of this team. Yet again, I've said it, he looks out of his depth. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. A troubling time for United, but I think the frustration just boils out because even after the wins, I've been frustrated. I looked at those Villa and Luton games and I wasn't happy. Yes, I was happy that we won, but I wasn't happy with the performances at all. They were shambolic, and I knew games like this up against Fulham would happen if we continued to play that system. Man City next up in the league, I'm absolutely dreading it because if we play this system, we're going to get absolutely hammered. As always, guys, stay tuned to Welsh Red TV, and I'll see you in the next one.